Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all. It's Bear here. And I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel, aboxwithnolid, a channel I'm creating not just to bring the awareness around the lived reality that trauma creates, but I'm also delving into its understandings and mechanisms from a real world perspective to help empower you guys to learn what you need to be able to find ways within your own world to heal. Now, hopefully, I'm just on the other side of a flu, so hopefully I'm not too croaky for this. But I felt it really important to make these couple of videos to upload this week, on both on the adoptee side as well as this side, because I constantly get reminded around this misunderstanding around the nervous system and trauma that really causes this misunderstanding really causes problems. And this misunderstanding is because there's this common held belief around that our nervous system knows how to be happy. Our nervous system has this re-regulation ability that it can automatically, when supported or when brought into it through a therapeutic process, can click into a whole set of processes that automatically balance everything out. And I think this misconception comes from there is a lot of autonomic neural knowledge. Our nervous system knows how to regulate heart and respiratory function, digestive function, all of these critical autonomic systems that keep us alive. And it hasn't people in medical histories haven't separated from the autonomic component of functionality into the reality that what nerves play in what we feel in regards to felt physical sense and that interplay with emotion, the physical sense of feeling emotions. And our nervous system doesn't have an inherited, okay, this is a feel-good state. It learns it. The information is accessible through gene expressions in regards of epigenetics of what is most commonly experienced familiarly in that path. And that's what the nervous system creates a baseline with, which is fine if your 14 generations have been happy the majority of their lives and their environment is safe. But that's in most cases not necessarily true. And there's also when that gets portrayed by trauma, and when you're looking at early childhood and pre-verbal and all the really hardcore, complex, multiple type stuff, the nervous system learns to not be able to trust being safe within that state of bliss, for want of a better analogy, or it's never experienced it. When we look at pre-verbal trauma, when we look at early childhood trauma and all the really complicated multiple type abuse stuff early in early childhood, the nervous system never learned what being safe felt like, what being held in a secure and safe fashion felt like, what nice felt like, what comfort and relaxed and peace and all that stuff. Our nervous system never learned what that felt like. It never learned the responses to the chemicals within all the signals within our brain and body. That never developed. And this expectation that if we go through counseling, we talk it out, we do some behavioral modification therapy, or these sorts of things, all this cognitive stuff, that we can just click this nervous system in to place to do something it has never learned to do. And that's this fallacy that I come across so often. And what the outcome of this is when the therapies don't work, it becomes the client's fault. It's not working. Because the textbooks and the studies and all the pieces of paper say this should work. This works. Therefore, it's your fault. It's not. And that is freaking devastating. And it is such a common experience when you talk into the world of mental health and you're getting in around the forums of those groups where you have a lot of people that have gone through a bunch of stuff coming together and talking to each other. They all have this common experience that when a therapy doesn't work, it becomes their fault. And the thing of it is I believe that the reason the therapies don't work is because of this misconception that the nervous system has this preset feel-good state that can be initiated. I could be wrong. But to me, it makes sense, and it's in what I've seen and witnessed around me for years. The reality is, so what can we do about this? The reality is our nervous system needs to learn. We need to relearn or learn what safe is, what comfort is, what touch means, all these things. And again, I go back to that analogy when I was talking with a grandma on community back in Canada. That is why, in a traditional sense of healing, a person is held 24/7 for months. You are always being touched. You are always being held by a member of your community. You don't go to the bathroom by yourself, nothing. Everything is done with being held like a newborn infant would experience, because that teaches the nervous system what nice is, what safe is, what touch, and all the different variations of touch. Not just in this modern day Western world, the sexualized context of touch, but all the niceness and interplays in the nervous system and an endocrine system, all the feelings we get around attachment and connection, what it actually feels like in all its variations and variabilities. That is what I mean by what our nervous system needs to learn. And that is learn how an infant learns it. By the constant interactions of, getting a little spooked and then being comforted out of it, having somebody pick them up, hold it, and make it okay. All that teaches the nervous system to regulate. When you're looking at a biological connection between an infant and the mother, especially when there's skin-on-skin contact between that infant and the mother, the infant learns to regulate their nervous system by that genetic connection, that pheromonal and neurological connection to their biological mother through the mother's nervous system. That's where you'll often see, if the mother's going through postnatal or postpartum depression, the infant is feeling really insecure and makes a lot more noise, cries a lot, and is really irritable, doesn't sleep, and adds to the mix. They're connected. We're designed to learn through physical contact to regulate our nervous system as an infant. The difficulty lies, as an adult, we are in that same circumstance. Now, if we've gone through early childhood and pre-verbal trauma, how do we learn through, in a safe way, through physical contact and physical interaction? How does our nervous system develop and learn how to appropriately be a part of? I will never say it can't be done. It is very difficult. It is one of the things, like in the previous videos when I was talking a little bit about MDMA therapy, there are ways to get the nervous system to a place where it's ready to learn. That's the first goal, is we need to get our nervous system to a place where it's willing to accept new interactions. That's why I always go for attachment, working on healing, at least working with our attachments first, so that we can have a few people around we know we can trust. And then it's bringing the not a sexualized physicality, it's bringing the physicality of connection into that mix. It's where the hand on the shoulder doesn't feel bad or doesn't go to a sexual context. It's where it's a comfort thing, it's a belonging thing. We see groups, any herd animal, they're always touching. There's all these moments of constantly reassuring each other that they're part of the group and that the group is together. It's bringing that into a mix. If you look at a lot of non-Western cultures, they do that all the time. You look at particularly ethnic and Hindu, Indian cultures and all this stuff, they do that all the time. Asian cultures do that all the time. There's always physical contact and interactions between family members and community members in a completely non-sexualized interpretation or intent. We need to find a way in the Western world to bring that into our reality, because that is a key component in how we can teach our nervous system to be part of connection and to regulate and to bring that, the good feelings of touch and connection, not just the sexualized aspect, but in that coming together and actually wanting to be around people and that needing to belong and be part of. Because through that we learn to be safe. When we learn to be safe, we learn to trust that we can build things for our future and ourselves. That, in a very simple nutshell, is what I'm trying to get across in this little video, is we need to understand that our nervous system needs to learn. It is, we need to let go of this understanding or this thought that we have that it automatically knows. Because if we never learned it as a kid, we've never experienced it as an infant, then our nervous system doesn't know. Or if we learned it and it was betrayed, we don't trust it. Either way, we need to relearn. And that's what I mean. And we relearn not cognitively. This is not reading books and playing roles in plays. This is physically experiencing it in your day-to-day environment. That's how we learn. And whatever our environment predominantly is what we will learn from and is what our nervous system will regulate to. So, step one, get our nervous system in a place where it's willing to accept new information. Step two, with those we know we can trust in a completely non-sexualized context, bring in that familial connection many, many times throughout the day. Teach the nervous system to be part of again, to connect safely again, to not treat everything as a threat again, to know there's support, to know there's backup and there's resource. And we can start to get the nervous system to re-regulate and to start to feel better being around people in community. We heal our attachment, we get to a place that's safe, then our body will release the threat. And we can become the person that we know we should and are able to be. I hope this makes sense. And again, I apologize for my voice. I'm still getting over being sick, but I really hope you guys understand this. As always, I love you guys' comments and feedback. Please be mindful. Please be safe. Please be respectful. And I'll see you all next time.